guys? What's up, my friends? I want to tell you an embarrassing story, something that I've worked through, and this has to do with your own personal development. In 2021, I believe it's important to start having difficult conversations, not only with other people, but with yourself, to stop you from being stagnant. If you want to grow on the outside, you got to grow on the inside. And sometimes it's not easy to face the fact that you're not perfect, that you have things in your life or in your psychology that are just deeply embedded that you haven't worked through yet. And one thing with me, I want to tell you a story of something that happened just this summer that I'm kind of embarrassed to talk about, but it's very important. And so basically, my friend William, and you guys have seen William in my videos and all over social media. He owns Young Masters Tree Service. He's one of my best friends. And this is a guy who has literally would, taken a bullet for me in the world of landscape and tree work. So I do landscaping, and I've gotten myself into these tree trimming jobs where I've literally had to call him totally embarrassed, like, dude, will you please come help me? And it's really hard to swallow your pride. And he literally has gone out of his way and came and, like, climbed up a 50-foot tree and done something that was totally outside of my skill set to help me. And the stupid thing that I have done is right in the middle of him, a real friend. If you see me looking around, I'm live on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube at the same time right now with 3 phones, but nonetheless, it's efficient. But I have actually not taken that seriously when he's done that for me. So let me give you an example. So this summer, I have a friend who is also a client who needed all of his trees trimmed in the back by his house because he had an important event. And so it was outside of my skill set because there were some electrical lines. And I called up William and I'm like, dude, is there any way that we can schedule a time where you can come and help trim these trees because you're very skilled at tree work? I can't believe I'm telling you this. So William shows up on a Saturday afternoon, and I go out there. I bring all my tree tools and my dump trailer, and he climbs up the trees. He's trimming them, trimming inside of the power lines. I'm running back and forth, and we're putting the branches into the chipper. And William is up there. He's literally taking time. He's booked out. He's got like 60 jobs on the books, and this is a real friend who set time aside. Obviously, he's getting paid, but to go and climb up and do all this to squeeze a favor in for me and for my client, right? And I'm working, I'm hustling, we're dragging branches to the chipper back and forth. And, you know, I was running so hard that I was out of breath, but it got to the point where I started like dogging it. Now he's up in the tree, and he's every time an arborist goes up in a tree, even though they know what they're doing, they're still taking a risk and they're putting their personal safety on the line. And so there was a couple minutes where I started to slack off, right? I'm like, I'm so glad William is here, and that's kind of not right to do to a friend and to somebody on a Saturday afternoon when this is their life. And so I started to catch my breath and slow down and things like that. And I have my own business. I know what this is like. And I can't believe I'm telling you this, and all these people are watching this. All right, so William, I go in the backyard when nobody else can see because William's crew is there, and we get on the side of the garage, and William looks at me and he goes, "What the F are you doing? I'm on your job site right now, Keith. I'm here for you, bending over backwards for you, and you're over there slacking off. And my guys are running circles around you right now." And he like threw his hands up in the air. And in that moment when he said that to me, like it felt like it was such a deflating type of feeling. So like my ego took over like a little bitch, and I started to get like defensive inside. I'm like, screw him, he's an asshole. I can't believe that all these thoughts and stories are in my mind. And then I started working really, really fast, and I regressed back to the 24-year-old version of myself working at a $10 an hour dead end job. And in my head and in my psychology, I became a victim for a couple minutes. And it was like William, my friend, my friend who's a contractor. We're on a job site, and it was almost like he was my boss all of a sudden, and I was this victim-minded employee, and I started acting like a victim, and like throwing a little fit in my own head as I'm dragging branches to the chipper. And I was like, and I had it all mixed up, right? And then I had to calculate and recalibrate and be like, wait a second. If a soldier wakes up in the morning, and because he was scrolling around watching, videos and gallivanting around or out playing the night before and doing stuff that didn't have to do with the mission, and he doesn't tie his shoe properly, and now he's in the battlefield, and hey, I've never been a soldier, I'm just talking, and because his shoe's untied, he trips over his shoelaces, and then now he knocks over the guy next to him, and both of them get killed in the heat of battle. And because that happens, now 5 guys behind them, something happens to them. All that happened because one guy didn't tie his shoe right, because he wasn't focused, or he thought he didn't have to be focused for that period. So I'm literally on the phone with William like a half an hour ago before making this video. I'm like, I want to tell this story live, because I told William how that made me feel on the side of the garage when he snapped at me and he bit my head off. This is my friend. A real friend will be candid with you, and they will tell you what you're doing right and what you're doing wrong, and they'll tell you how to fix it. They will take the time to take you aside and tell you in the moment when it happens. That's what a real friend does. A fake friend just won't say anything, and they'll go talk shit behind your back. Real friends hold you accountable, right? You got any real friends that hold you accountable? So William is a great friend and a great mentor because he holds me accountable, right? And so I told this to William, and he says, in the heat of battle, the general, or when leading the battalion, until he relaxes, until the guy in charge relaxes, and when William comes on my job sites, when I hire him to come in, right, as a subcontractor on a job that I can't handle in my own business, some crazy tree job or something, I turn over the reins of command to William on my job sites. William is the boss. Now check this out. So that means I'm second in command, and my job is to make sure everything goes smoothly on the ground. I learned that I have a problem with that. I have an ego issue that, from being stuck in dead-end jobs, I have to be the alpha all the time, that I have this problem. My skin is hot right now sharing this. William's watching this laughing. So you guys, if you watch my videos, I talk about one of my other best friends. His name is Rob. We call him Coach Rob. He's an NLP certified neuro-linguistic programming master hypnotherapist. This guy's insane, right? And I told Rob this story. I go, Rob, how come when I'm working with my friend William, who's a masculine guy with a beard, and he's one of my best friends, but when I let him be in charge of my job sites, because he's the one with the skill to do this type of tree work, and when I hire him on and I pay him very well, why do I have these issues where I get upset and angry with him on a job and I bottle it up? And then Rob asked me a series of questions. He goes, well, and this is very important if you work with any of your friends being a contractor, right, or you have any partnerships. He says, well, does William have the skill? Do you ask William to come on your job site, right? And you're paying him to handle something that you can't handle, right? So you're turning over the reins to be the first in command to get this job done. Yes, right? And you both mutually agree that you're going to be second in command. Like, you're not going to be the alpha on that job, right? So with all those things being answered, Rob, being a coach, he basically says to me, oh, then you're just being a little bitch, Keith. You're just being a little bitch. It's your ego getting in the way because you have some type of complex. And that was so relieving to me to learn that I have another story for a different time. But just like if you work with a team of guys or a team of people, there's nothing wrong with just being one of the guys. There's nothing wrong with just working. And know your role and play your role very well. Don't be upset about your role, right? So it's okay. Does that make sense? Healthy boundaries. I see all your comments on here. So my ego has gotten in the way, and I'm reading all your comments right now. My ego has gotten in the way on these job sites several times because my friend William is such a, um, even as I talk about it, I feel like, I don't know, uncomfortable. He is, he's hyper alpha. How about that? And so when I'm on job sites with him, and he's the master at doing tree work, I have to be the second in position and play my role controlling the ropes or being on the ground. And the more comfortable that you can get, like everybody wants to be the CEO, everybody wants to be the lead singer of the band, everybody wants to be some certain position. Well, if you weren't meant to do that in this scenario, in this environment, maybe your job was meant, you were meant to be the caddy. Maybe your role is to be, head of finances or marketing or something completely different. If you're an employee, maybe you're great at being an employee. Maybe you have an employer business that they always want to be in charge and they don't know how to just play their role and be really good at what they do. So the sooner you can get your ego out of the way and just play your role and be very good at it, be comfortable with that, is the quicker that the team can move forward and accomplish the general goal, and everybody can win together and then celebrate the successes together. So I feel very incredibly fortunate to have the friends that I have, that I can have arguments with, that I can communicate with, and we can all literally at the end of the day shake hands and split up thousands of dollars a day sometimes and make money together and learn a lot about from each other. It's very awesome. So my hat is off to my friend William. I wouldn't know anything about tree work if it wasn't for him. I was running around pulling weeds and trimming bushes, which is fine, and cutting grass and landscaping. And my first tree job. So William and I worked at uh, kind of a dead end lawn care company together like 10, 12 years ago. I just met him. He's this dude with a chip on his shoulder. He was like, something was bugging him. I'm like, what's up, man? I'm cutting grass. And he's like, screw this. This sucks. I'm a tree guy. I do tree work. And he was a tree guy that happened to be doing lawn care for some reason. And I knew nothing about tree work. But a couple years later, we're now really good friends. We start our businesses at the same time. I'm a landscaper. He does tree work. And I get this tree job, trimming this one maple tree. I literally had no idea what the hell I was doing. I was out there I went to my grandpa's house. I just got started, and I borrowed this pole with a doll. It was like a doll Corona saw pole, and I'm trying to saw this huge branch that was going up over this dude's house. It was the stupidest thing ever. I should never have been doing that. I didn't know what I was doing, and I couldn't even get through it because it was so dull. The customer's looking at me like, who did I hire? Found me on Craigslist, and then I call up my other friend, Scotty. Scotty was getting back on his feet at that time. We literally borrowed a chainsaw from his neighbor. So we were podunk tree service. We get this doll ass Craftsman chainsaw. We couldn't even get it started. And then when we got it started, either the chain was on backwards or it was so dull it didn't even work. I'm up holding a chainsaw and there's smoke coming off this tree branch. And my whole face is red, and we're in a high-end neighborhood, and the customer is looking at me like, oh my God, I'm about to kick these guys off my property. And I'm like, but I got to get this job done. It was way undercharged. So we go to Home Depot and we rent out a chainsaw to trim this guy's tree. We didn't even know how to put the blade on. We put the blade on backwards, and there's smoke coming off of this chainsaw. And the customer's like, I don't even know why he didn't just fire us on the spot. So I call up William. I'm like, William, I'm an idiot. I'm not making any money right now. I'm scared. Will you? Aren't you? You do tree work, right? So William comes down there, and he shows up, and he knew exactly what to do. He did this hinge cut on the branch. He like peeled it over, made the final cut. He got it done in like literally 15 minutes. It was insane. And I was like watching it happen. I paid him. He didn't even make any money off of it either. And now it became a series of jobs where I'm literally calling up my friend William to come look at these tree trimming jobs for way under price. And William is coming and helping me trim them and teaching me how to trim trees. And every time I would trim, so I would get a job. There's times that he actually showed up to the job to work because he trusted me. He's like, "How much did you charge for this again?" And I'd be like, $200. He literally took his whole saddle and he threw it down off his body because he was putting it on, threw it in his truck, and peeled off and just drove down the street and looked at me out the window as he's driving away in his truck like this. And I'm just there with my face red, still on the job site, with the customer looking out the window and no way to trim these trees because I literally was bringing my friend into this crappy situation that he's doing for me because I'm his friend. And at some point he's like, "Dude, I'm just going to teach you how to do this." I'm like, "Will you please teach me how to do this, man? Teach me because I don't know what I'm doing." So he starts teaching me how to trim trees, how to charge for trees. I had this one client, I cut her lawn for $20 every week. I would trim all the bushes on the whole property and be there for an entire day for like $125. It was absolutely ridiculous when I first started. And then she wanted a quote to get all of her trees trimmed. My paper shredder. So I call William again, and he comes very confident. He's got his beard. Confident. Beard and confidence go together. And my customer is acting different around William than she's acting around me. Why is she acting so different around William when I get treated like I'm a little kid or something and I'm a grown man here? With William's just the man. He knows everything about, everything. So walks around with her. And now at the time, a $500 job was a lot of money to me. William talks her into like now William's average job is probably a couple thousand. He does $5,000 jobs all the time. He's doing very well for himself, and hats off to him. But at the time, he talked her into like a $750 tree job on the spot and booked it. While I was saying nothing, and she's like, "Okay, that sounds good." And then she went in the house, and I looked at William. I'm like, "How did you do that? I've never gotten this customer to pay me more than $125 for anything ever. I didn't even think they could afford it. And you just got this customer to spend $750 right on the spot to trim the trees?" And William looks at me one more time. He goes like this. It's the look of shame. He looks at me. He goes, "Bro, it's tree work, not landscaping. These are tree prices." Right? And he was just joking. He wasn't saying anything about landscaping. But he was trying to get it through my thick skull. Is that when you get good at something and you have confidence, that portrays to the client. So I thought I was learning something. Apparently not. That following weekend, I'm not even lying, it's a Sunday. I'm desperate. I'm like, we're living in a little tiny one-bedroom apartment, trying to get on our feet here to pay off debt. I quote taking down this entire tall, skinny poplar tree behind a customer's house. There's like a patio and a pergola. And I told the customer $700. And this was easily, at the time, about $1,400. Today it would be, way more than that. But it wasn't anything crazy dynamic, but it was definitely outside of my skill set. So I don't know why I thought I could do this. If you ever try to get into tree work, don't. Unless you have a mentor and you get properly trained and licensed and insured and for all this stuff. Because your eyes fool you. You have to have a lot of experience and on-the-job training on the ground before you ever attempt it, right? So I go to do this tree, and then it dawns on me that I was just desperate and needed money. And you start running around saying yes to anything, because you need money. Stupid, unprofessional thing. But I learned. But I call up William. William, I know that it's Sunday, and I would call him like a little bitch. William, I know that it's you just tell me, just get to the point, Kelfas. Just get to the point, Kelfas. I couldn't even get my words out. I was so scared. I know that it's Sunday, but I'm on this I'm on this tree job, man. Please, would you come just help me, man? I don't know what you're doing. You help me. It's Sunday. He's like, just text me the address. I'm like, dude, he's like, stop thanking me. Just text me the address. And I would do that. See, that's what I just did it right now. I go, oh, I'm saved, dude. 40 minutes later, I'm sitting on the job site. 40 minutes later, I hear his truck pull up in front of the customer's house. He rolls down the window. The look of shame. The look of shame. He looks. Get my tree gear. So I'm carrying his tree gear into the backyard. All of his tree gear. He's got a big beard. He looks up at the fucking tree. He goes. And I'm like, oh my God, I hope the customers aren't looking out the window at this. And so, dude, William puts on his tree gear, runs up the tree like a spider monkey, bro. And now I'm scared because I realized what I got us into. And he wasn't afraid of anything. Dude, he drops this branch. He goes, hold tight. I got the leather gloves on. Now, I know I'm laughing. I'm having fun right now, but this is very serious, right? And I wouldn't be on the ropes unless he had trained me to do ropes, and we had done literally 100 tree jobs at this point, right? But he's like, hold tight. Don't wrap the rope around your fists. Dude, he drops the top of the tree down very methodically, very calculated. He knows exactly what he's doing. But basically, there's just two of us there, and we managed to get this whole thing down and cleaned up, and it takes us a good 2.5 hours. And he goes, how much did you charge for this? Because he trusted me, right? It wasn't about money. It was about camaraderie. It was about friendship. It was about loyalty. It was about a lot of other things. And now I owe this guy everything. How much did you charge for this, Kalfas? I go, $700. He goes. So, anyways, we get this whole thing down. We get it cleaned up, and the customer writes a check. And I'm like a little kid here. And I see all your comments. Like a little kid, once the job is done and I got the check, and literally whether the customer would pay check or cash, I give William his cut, which was usually that's nobody's business, but I always made sure he got paid properly according to what the job was, and I'm very thankful because sometimes looking back, he didn't make good money either, right? But we were learning together, but in an immature way, I would feel very relieved all of a sudden and go, oh, I'm so glad that that's done. Oh, thank God for William. Thank you, William. And I'd be texting him because I would try to talk to him and everything and be like, William, dude, thank you so much. Let's chop it up. Let's talk, man. And he wouldn't. He would just say, throw his gear in the back of his truck and then take off. And as he takes off, his window would be down. And he'd be like that. And I'm like trying to talk to him, and he wouldn't even talk to me. He just takes off. He was always mad at me. This guy's always mad at me. I don't know what I did wrong. Right? And so he's awesome. My friend William is one of those friends that you only meet once in a lifetime, that you don't have to say very much to him at all. Very little words, very few words exchanged ever. I've probably I don't know. We've had maybe 20 great conversations in 12 years. That's kind of weird, right? But the transfer, I can't explain it. The level of relationship is something I can't explain, and you'll be lucky if you find maybe, you know, I heard it was 3 real friends in your entire life. Somebody who doesn't give a shit about what you have or what you don't have or what you know, he cares about my accomplishments and I care about his. But at the end of the day, you know, William and I, there was a point where he was sleeping in the back of his truck. He had nowhere to live, and I was sleeping in someone's basement. And we knew each other back in the day when we had nothing. We had no businesses. We had no money in the bank. We weren't talking about Bitcoin. And we had no chainsaws or trucks or dump trailers or clienteles or anything like that. We had no employees. We were we had nothing. And it's so humbling to have real friends like that in your life that you can always, the more time goes on, the more richer the relationship gets. And yeah, he's a phenomenal dude. And I hope that you have somebody like that in your life and in your business that you can call for advice, and somebody to, it's just your friend, a real friend. So I could start crying right now. I don't know why, but humbling. Take a moment to look back. It's 2021, folks. If I'm looking around, like I said, I'm on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube all at once on 3 phones. But it's 2021. How many more heartaches do you have to go through before you stand up and decide to go after it, to get focused, to get dedicated, to get, excuse me, to get committed? You don't have to go through any more pain, any heartbreaks, or any chaos in your life. Sometimes you lie to yourself and you say, I need to go through one more hard challenge before I finally get it. These weird things that we put ourselves through. But you've been through so much. You've been through hell and you've made your way back. You've treaded through high waters and you've done it. Now's your time. You're ready right now. You don't need any more getting ready to take that next step. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When the student is ready, the teacher will appear. When you're ready and you stand up and you say that you're ready, when you look in your eyes in your own eyes in the mirror, you say, I'm ready. I'm ready for this. Doors will open up and opportunities will open up in your life and in your business, and miracles will happen that you've always dreamed of coming true in your life. It'll all happen for you, and it'll happen at the snap of a finger. And it all comes down to readiness and worthiness. Do you feel worthy of having what you say you want? Because as soon as you feel worthy and you feel that you deserve it, you got it. It's yours. If it's available and other people can access it too, and people that have these aspirational qualities that you know or know of or see on social media, they have things or they have lives that you wish you had. They're just people. Anything is available to any of us. Um, I'll say one quick story without getting too personal. My friend William told me, he called me up a couple weeks ago, and I feel very blessed that he shared this with me. He said that he was at a red light and he had his truck and trailer and all of his equipment. And he's got a fancy setup. He's got everything now, like, you know, a lot of shit, dude. And he saw a guy walking that he knew back when, like a long time ago, back when he was broke. And he looked again, and you know, back when William and I were broke, he saw a guy that was like walking across the street. He's like, I know that kid. I know that kid. He goes, oh my God, I used to be friends with him back when I was broke. And then he said out of the blue, William had just tears pouring down his face. And he all of a sudden realized, he's like, oh my God, I'm successful now. I fucking did it. But that guy was still in that place. And he said, why isn't that me? Like, why am I successful now when I very easily could have not been successful? What is the difference that made the difference? And I think about stuff like that too. Why do I get to make it? Why am I here now when very easily I could have not been, you know? And I think it comes down to, at some point, something inside of you snaps. Something's got to snap inside of you. And I hope that tonight is the night for you. If that's something that needs to snap, let it be tonight. Let that thing snap inside of you where you make that radical decision to step up to the plate and crush 2021. Crush it. Crush 21. I'm out. Crush it. We got this. We got this.